Kyrie eleison.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pillar Paths, a podcast tracing the urban legacies of Catholic women saints who shaped cities across Europe and beyond. I'm Rochelle Tayeg Ramirez, your host, and this journey is personally enriching and timely. Let's start with my story, then dive into why these pillars and paths matter, especially now in 2025. Thank you for joining me. I'm a cradle Catholic raised in Boston with a loud, boisterous, loving Filipino-American family. My family consisted of my grandparents, aunts, uncles, and numerous cousins, all very spirited. My parents are deeply Catholic, and faith was at our heartbeat. My parents instilled a love for the church, its saints, and their stories to my brothers and I. Growing up, we'd hit the road, sometimes for national parks, sometimes to visit and reconnect with distant relatives, often going on trips for historical and educational purposes. And on a special occasion, we'd hit the road for religious pilgrimages. These times unveiled hope and faith within the shrines, basilicas, and holy wells. I'd stand there as a kid from Boston, feeling history hum through those sacred spaces. That hum stuck with me. I studied at MIT for a master's in city planning, focusing on international regional development. I wanted to decode how cities grow, discover the stories within, not just the structure of streets and buildings, but the forces behind them. Personalities kept popping up of these cities and how they developed and the influence of its design today, and as well as the faith that some of these personalities had. I started seeing saints, especially women like Sainte Geneviève of Paris, Saint Teresa of Avila, not just as spiritual giants, but as urban influencers, shaping the cities through their presence and prayer. Saint Geneviève is still very much felt in Paris. It was her miracle that inspired and convinced King Clovis of France to turn France into Catholic, or to become Catholic, I'm sorry. And you could see that throughout its architecture, throughout its holidays, through the very pulse of the French living. Everyday living is still felt. And that's all owed to Sainte Geneviève of Paris, the patron saint of Paris. Moving on, my career took me global, working with UN agencies like UNESCO in Paris, UNDP, and the United States Agency of International Development, as well as the Asian Development Bank. These opportunities gave me a chance to travel, to live abroad, get to know people from different walks of life. And again, at the center of these cities, these places, are the faith that people had in their community. It's very, very inspiring. I'd advised on national planning, cultural preservation, urban projects, often visiting the very sites we'll explore here. I'd walked at Zaragoza's Plaza del Pilar, stood in Paris' Latin Quarter, prayed at the Valencia's Cathedral while the Holy Grail is kept. These aren't just dots on the map. They're living spaces I've touched, pulsing with the past. And I'm not alone, as millions of visitors still visit those places today. I've lived in the Philippines, France, and Spain, immersing myself in Catholic culture from Manila's colonial streets to Paris cathedrals. Now I spend summers in Spain, making pilgrimages and guiding pilgrimages across Spain, France, Austria, and Germany. I've knelt at St. Teresa's convent in Avila, prayed in Florence's magnificent marble basilica. These places aren't relics, they're invitations. They're calling pilgrims and seekers today, just as they did centuries ago. And that call is louder now. In 2025, the Catholic Church celebrates a Jubilee year, a time of grace, renewal, and pilgrimage. The Jubilee year is often celebrated every 25 years, but there was an exceptional one about 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago, 2014, I believe, as St. Francis called for the Jubilee Year of Mercy. And again, this year, which is the 25 year, is it's the Jubilee Year of Hope. Pope Francis has urged us to become pilgrims of hope, seeking spiritual awakening and a deeper search for meaning. Pilgrimage isn't just travel, it's also transformation. And here's the thing, it's not just for believers. These sacred spaces are tied to women saints, draw millions of tourists every year, many who don't share the faith but still feel the pull. For example, take Zaragoza, Our Lady of the Pilars Basilica. It sees over 1 million visitors annually, and not all are Catholics. Tourists come for the Baroque architecture, the Goya frescoes, or they come to the Fiestas del Pilar's energy. I'd seen it myself in the summer, people snapping photos of the Pilar, not knowing it's tied to a 40 AD apparition. Yet they linger. They sense something bigger. The city's layout, pivoting around the plaza, whispers of a story of faith they can't unhear. Or what about Whitby, England? St. Hilda's Abbey's ruins perch on the cliffs above the sea. Goths and history buffs flock there, drawn by Dracula lore or the wild North Sea views. They climb the 199 steps originally built for pilgrims and stand there where St. Hilda's monastery once thrived. They might not pray, but they're moved by the scale, the solitude, the echo of her 7th century mission. Then there's Paris, Saint Genevieve's legacy in the Latin Quarter. It pulls in students, artists, and travelers, most not there for her miracles. They wander the bookshops, cafe around her old Abbey Hill, now the Pantheon, soaking in a vibe she helped create. I watched tourists pause there, caught by something they can't name, a protector's presence still shaping the city. And she's still alive as the city's patron. These sites born from women saints transcend doctrine, their history, art, mystery rolled into one. And in this Jubilee year, as pilgrims seek spiritual depth, tourists, believers or not, find inspiration too. That's what Pillar Paths is here to unpack. How faith builds cities that speak to everyone. So why Pillar Paths? It's about those women's trailblazers who shaped our world without blueprints. We will start with Our Lady of Pilar in Zaragoza. Her Pilar turned a Roman outpost into a Christian hub, still buzzing with pilgrims and tourists today. Then monastic mothers like St. Bridget in Kildare in Ireland and St. Hilda in Whitby, England, building those towns that draw seekers and sightseers alike. Protectors like Saint Genevieve in Paris, reformers like St. Teresa in Avila, mystics like St. Catherine in Siena, and frontier saints like St. Margaret in Dunfermline. Their pillars and paths echo well into 2025, welcoming all who walk them. Here's the plan. 5 episodes a week, about 20 minutes each, more or less, Monday to Friday. Each week, we'll dive into one saint and her city, her story, her urban impact, a prayer and a nudge to join their journey. There will be tourist trips on Thursdays and footy tips on Fridays of those cities. It's a pilgrimage in your earbuds, whether you're a believer or just curious. Video on YouTube, audio on wherever you listen to your podcast, all at pillarpaths.com, where you'll find episodes, Saints Bio, and soon merch. Think a Pillar Paths tee with Zaragoza's Pillar. This matters because these saints didn't just build history, they built hope. St. Bridget's Monastery, Kildare, drew pilgrims then, and her well still does. Tourists included snapping pics of quiet beauty. St. Teresa's Avila, with its medieval walls, pull in travelers for its charms, not just its convents. These women created sacred spaces that shape cities. And in this Jubilee year, they invite us all, pilgrims for renewal, tourists for wonder. I felt it myself as a Filipino-American planner from Boston, standing where they stood, seeing non-believers pause in awe. Our first full episode drops soon. The Pillar of Our Lady of Zaragoza. Please subscribe, whether on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Visit pillarpaths.com. Follow me on Instagram at Rochelle Tayag Ramirez or on X at Pillar Paths. Join me in this Jubilee year. This is Rochelle Tayag Ramirez. Thank you for stepping onto Pillar Paths with me. Let's explore these paths together in 2025. Whoever you are, as St. Teresa of Avila wrote, let nothing disturb you. God never changes. See you on the path, maybe in Zaragoza this summer. Thank you so much and welcome.